Hey y'all, welcome to week 1 of my 7-week prep for the Arnold Classic South Africa. It will be my first time stepping on stage in 4 years, and I'll be doing the IFBB Elite Pro body fitness category. So it's kind of like how figure used to be back in the day, and as a lifetime natural athlete, I really appreciate this category because I can't get that big, obviously. So it'll be nice. Yeah, so 7 weeks. The next 3 weeks, I'm trying to gain muscle and lose fat, which is kind of tough, but we'll go over some nutrition strategies. And then trying to just shred the last 4 weeks. Right now I'm taking some creatine, doing a lot of volume training, a lot of compound movements, and time under tension, really splitting up the muscle group. So legs twice a week and everything else once a week, and HIIT twice a week currently. I'm not doing steady state cardio, but I probably will add that. My goal is to be able to eat as much as possible, considering within reason, for the next 3 weeks, and then kind of ratchet down from there if I need to. So I made some notes here in my trusty notebook so I don't forget anything starting going forward. So with the training, I kind of talked about that. I'm training 6 days a week right now. I've got 1 rest day, and again, working on building, and I'm not currently running a caloric deficit, but I do go to sleep slightly hungry, and that's how I know I'm going to be leaning down. So I don't eat right before bed. It's one of these things where it's science and art, and you got to know the science, but then you also got to know how your body reacts to certain things. And I do best whenever I don't eat, probably within 2 to 3 hours of going to sleep. So I'm eating quite a bit before I train and after I train in the form of protein and carbs. And, so far just not really cutting anything out, just kind of cleaned up my diet. But we'll go through a Q&A and a whole other video on that. I just want to kind of introduce kind of the time frame and what's going on. And then also, this is my house, so check it out. And I think maybe I will go talk for a little bit on the porch. So this is my living room and my kitchen where I do a ton of cooking. I have a dishwasher, but I don't use it. So my house is 100 years old and I live on the river. I just added this half bath. So going outside. It's such a nice day here in Tampa, Florida. So we're out here on my porch right now. I wanted to talk a little bit about the mental aspects of competing. And this is something that if you've been out of the game for a little while, or if you're just getting ready to compete, it's something to really think about. So I read in a book that everything on earth is created twice. First in your head, and then second in reality. So whatever you're capable of imagining, you can conjure in real life. And this isn't just on a whim. This is something that you have to be able to imagine in full detail, and you have to be able to replay it over and over again. So with competing, the times that I won the Olympia twice, I went to sleep like every night before, and I envisioned exactly how it would happen. And the first time I won, I was surprised. Not because I was surprised that I won, but I was surprised that it happened exactly the way I thought it was going to happen, exactly the way I had replayed it in my mind. And the times that I didn't win, I think that visualization wasn't as strong, and of course things are not in our control. And the times I didn't win, I think I took valuable lessons away from it. But the mental aspect of getting ready for a show and actually competing is so powerful. And if you are convinced that you're going to win and that you walk on stage like you're about to accept the trophy, I think that plays a big part of your stage presence. So, and that's with anything in life, is just imagining where you want to be, imagining your ideal life, and acting it out in your mind, and sooner or later it will come to fruition. of course, with the hard work and perseverance. So you have to have that too. But the mental aspect of it is really key. And then of course the mental aspect of dieting or scarcity or depleting. Whenever we have the idea of a diet in mind, it denotes ideas of scarcity. And whenever something is scarce, whenever something is off limits, our brains think about it more. So I think it's really important to not think in terms of scarcity, to almost reframe your brain into thinking about fueling your body, nourishing your body, and don't think about what you can't have, because that's a good way to make yourself miserable. And I think the diet can be the hardest part if you let it be. And that's with whether you're getting ready for a show or whether you're trying to lean down. It's finding that balance and knowing that in daily life, if you're good like 85 to 90% of the time, you're gonna be good. We're human, so we're gonna have our treat meals, we're gonna have days where we slip up, and the times that you slip up, if you get back on the wagon and you just keep pushing forward and live the next day like it never happened, use those extra calories to fuel your workouts. When you're prepping, it's a little bit different. If you have a slip up, it's a little bit bigger of a deal, but it's still not the end of the world. Depending on how far out you are and how lean you are, you may need that refeed. So the mental aspect of it. Don't think in terms of diet so much. Don't think in terms of scarcity. I think too, it might be kind of fun to go through obviously the whole prep thing, but also after prep. A lot of times when you're doing this, or you have a coach, or you go through a diet where you're getting ready for spring break, or you're getting ready for a photo shoot or some event, and what happens afterwards? We gain the weight back, and we probably gain it even more. So a lot of times dieting is like a pendulum. So you pull the pendulum and you're dieting. What happens when you stop dieting? It swings the other way. So we have to think that way too, is having a plan for after the show. And I'm happy to go through some of the things that have helped me stay pretty lean year round. And a lot of times with the diet, it's important to not diet for like more than 6 to 8 weeks. And that's just because the rebound time is going to take you probably 6 to 8 weeks. So people will diet for 20, 25 weeks, 40 weeks, something like that. And you think about the rebound and think about the metabolism and how the metabolism is elastic, right? So if you're pulling these calories back and you're doing all this cardio and you cut carbs and you've cut salt, you've cut all this stuff, and what do you have left, afterwards? So you've basically turned the switch off for having things that you're not allowed to eat. You've turned that switch off. You can have whatever you want, but the body is either primed to gain muscle or primed to gain fat. So we can certainly talk about that and how not to gain fat, or how to gain as little fat as possible after a show, and how not to deplete and deprive yourself so much by the time you get to your show that your metabolism has slowed down. The goal is to keep that metabolism revved up so there isn't too much of an adjustment period afterwards. So the mental aspect, the diet aspect, we'll go through a lot of the training too, like in more detail. I want to post some of my training videos so you see kind of the training style, and my philosophy is, coming from an athletic background, that I love training fast twitch muscle. I love training for power, for speed. I keep thinking that I'm going to show up to one of these things and they're going to have like a bench press competition or like a sprint competition, and I'm going to have to spike up. So I always have that in the back of my head. I want to be show and go, not just show. So and that stuff, like the powerlifting, the plyos, the HIIT, it's all super difficult stuff, but it is quick. So I think the average competitor is probably spending 2 or 3 hours in the gym, where I'm spending like an hour in the gym when I'm crushing it. So, and I'm sure they're crushing it too, but I just want to open the door a little bit and show how I train, because as far as I know, I think I'm the only self-coached, lifetime natural, 2-time Miss Figure Olympia champ. So you know, it's a bit unconventional, and I've always had people along the way, especially when I started, they told me, hey, look, you can't do it without a coach. You can't do it without a team. You can't do it if you don't take stuff. And I never listened because I wanted to prove them wrong, number one. And I wanted to prove, well, most importantly, I wanted to prove that it could be done another way. So it's going to be kind of fun to go through the training, and it's going to be kind of fun to go through the diet because I don't quite track macros. I don't quite track calories. It's an intuitive kind of thing, and I want to teach you guys how to do that too, because if you're on like a fitness app or something, that gets so tedious. If you're counting calories for broccoli or spinach, don't do that. I mean, of course, if your coach says do it, do it. But I found that if you eat an entire family bag of spinach, it's like 60 calories, and your body is going to take most of that in energy to actually digest those calories. So it fills you up, and it's kind of almost like a negative calorie. So whenever I'm tracking stuff, I really only count carbs and protein. And the protein, if I'm really super hungry, I'll do like 6 or 8 ounces of lean protein rather than just 4. So we'll go through a little bit of intermittent fasting for maintaining and gaining muscle, and kind of what's worked for me. I'll touch a little bit on the science part of it, but I want to kind of share what has worked for me and not get too sciencey, because I know whenever people throw big words at me, I just kind of glaze over. So, you know, it's kind of cool to know the techniques and kind of know the thought behind why certain things work, but not have to like run crazy equations or anything. It's kind of nice just to be able to look at a plate of food and be like, oh yeah, I can do that, or you know, maybe I need to add this or add that. So, yeah, that's kind of it just to start. So I'm really, really excited. It's about 7 weeks out, and I'll be posting probably progress pictures or measurements, just so you guys can follow along. And then in the comment section, if you're interested in maybe like a Q&A, or if there's a specific video that you want me to cover, just comment. And then, yeah, this is going to be fun. So thanks for watching, and until next time, train hard, y'all.